In the name of my ancestors, peace forever and always. Welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth. Of course, I am the host or the gatekeeper of this internet ministry. On YouTube, I am known as the mighty Angel Snub Nuff 7, your brother and hopefully your friend Taalik Ibn'rad. I hope you enjoy the video that follows this introduction. Again, peace forever and always, and respect you.
Peace forever and always. Thank you for listening. Now, I have a question for you. Now, I wasn't around during the time of Malcolm, and I'm very sure many of you who are listening to my voice wasn't around during the time of Malcolm. Well, actually, in a way, I was around during the time of Malcolm. I was a little baby. But in my study of the history of Malcolm X and the Nation of Islam, I have a question that sort of bothers me. And as a thinking person, it should bother you. And my question is, Malcolm X was called a hypocrite. Malcolm X was called a hypocrite because he left the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad after he gave an allegiance to Elijah Muhammad and Islam in general. So when he left the nation, then they said he became a hypocrite. And they said he became a hypocrite because not only did he leave the nation of Islam, but he also was acting in a manner in opposition to the messenger and the Nation of Islam. Now, my question here is, okay, that's well and good. If you're using that as a description of why Malcolm was called a hypocrite, then the question also arises not only to, as far as Malcolm is concerned, but the question arises to Elijah Muhammad himself and Louis Farrakhan himself, because Louis Farrakhan also called him a hypocrite, and also, even though he may not have been part of the actual assassination plot of Malcolm X, he did use his words in order to fire up environment to cause those who did assassinate Malcolm to do what they did. Now, again, going back to why Malcolm is called a hypocrite, if this is true, and we're going to use that as a definition, wouldn't it also be true that Elijah Muhammad and Louis Farrakhan are also hypocrites? Why would you say such a thing? Why could they also be hypocrites? Because prior to them meeting Master Farad Muhammad, who introduced them to Islam, they both gave their allegiance to Jesus Christ. Both of them were worshiping Jesus Christ in some form of Christianity. Matter of fact, Elijah Muhammad, I believe his father was a Baptist preacher, so he was raised and he believed in Jesus Christ. Also, Louis Farrakhan believed in Jesus Christ. They both were Christians. Now, let me take that back. I'm not really sure about Louis because I know his mother was part of the Garvey movement. But to my knowledge, I still think that he did profess Christianity at one time or another. Anyway, let's just say now that they did believe in Jesus. And I know that Elijah Muhammad did believe in Jesus. So once he learned of Islam, he denied Jesus Christ in favor of Islam. So don't that make you a hypocrite? Because you left, and then not only did you leave Christianity, did you leave Jesus, you began to take part in an activity in opposition of Jesus Christ. So don't that make you a hypocrite? Just like Micah? Then may I go on to say this for you. It was a cowardly act for those so-called Muslims to assassinate Malcolm X, because even in the Wild Wild West, it was a cowardly and degrading type of action to shoot down an unarmed man. At least give an unarmed man a pistol that don't work, some kind of weapon, so you can say that he made some kind of attempt to protect himself. But these cowards went into the Audubon ballroom and shot down this man who did nothing but good for the Nation of Islam, down in cold-blooded murder. And then they want to laugh, and they said that God approves of such activity. Nonsense. And why would you want to be part of somebody or some organization or a thinking that gives it approval on cowardly assassination? Let's get real about this. Malcolm and his teacher had a dispute. Malcolm done only what any other person in their right mind would do, is defend himself against allegations. First of all, he was called a hypocrite and whatever. When somebody talks about you, calls you names or anything, it is reasonable enough that you would try to do the same thing. So Malcolm only did what any other person in their normal state of mind would do, try to protect themselves and defend themselves against
Blog Talk Radio.
As we set fire to the Confederate flag, as we set fire to the sheets of the Klansmen, we remain proud to be African supremacists. You cracker-loving Uncle Tom house Negroes cannot infiltrate the structure of the African supremacists. We remain pure from the filth of interracial interbreeding. We remain pure from the filth of interracial relations. And last but not least, we remain pure of the pollution of Western civilization. One love under one nation, Africa, America. It's your brother, Tech 9, host of the African Supremacy Blog Talk Radio Show. And I just want to say, black power to all of my brothers and sisters out there.
Peace forever and always. Welcome to another edition of the Reality's Temple on Earth. Your host is His Divine Masculine Brother AdMinister Taalik Ibn'rad,